How's it, guys? Welcome to another Rebel Short. We are with the infamous Tyron Hatch.
Infamous, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Owner of Motley Crew CrossFit. You've been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
Lucky to have you.
I've been around long enough when you had hair, I think.
Long time. It was a long time. I had a full head of hair.
Yeah, that just shows you how long it's been.
Yeah, now we're old.
Now we're aging. Not old, we're aging.
Hopefully wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weathered and wise.
Learned a bit about this CrossFit thing along the way.
Hopefully you picked up some things.
Yeah. So, Ty, welcome.
Thank you.
Lucky to have you finally.
Lucky to have the Rebel team in Cape Town.
Yeah, it's always good to be
Not a bad place to
in
be.
the Cape. No, especially this time of year.
Yeah, really cool.
So, Ty, tell us a little bit about how things are going. What's news in Cape Town and at Motley Crew?
Yeah, it's a crazy time. I'm sure you've noticed driving around the streets how busy the roads are. Cape Town swells, I think, this time of year for good 3 to 6 months. All the foreigners and all that kind of stuff. So it's a great time of year for the gyms. We're in some really nice catchment zones. So Sea Point Main Road and middle of Hartskant. We get a lot of overseas visitors. I think we swell by 30 to 40% over sort of November to March. So it's a great time to be in Cape Town as a gym owner.
That's lekker. And I think your gyms are very unique. Like both of them are fronted with a coffee shop, which is pretty cool. Like the idea and thought process behind that. And
yeah, I mean, so when we started, we were in a much smaller facility, and we actually took rental of a little side, could have been a cupboard basically, next to our old facility, and we thought, let's do our own coffee shop. We know how to do that. We can run a gym. Terrible idea. We thought we'd train the coaches to be backup baristas if anything happened, but then we didn't think what would happen if the coach is coaching and the barista didn't arrive. Then no one would have coffee or no one would have a coach. So we paid some school fees over the years and trying to figure it out. We had another coffee partner, just didn't work out, and then we needed someone with their own brand presence, and the Plato guys were super keen to jump on board. They were looking for spaces in Cape Town. I think their business model initially, don't quote me on this, was to sort of go to a few of the smaller door pieces like the George and Stellies and all that kind of stuff and do these little shops, hole in the wall. And then they wanted to have a footprint in Cape Town. And then we contacted them at the time they were looking. So they got some cheap locations relatively. And it's a great way to sort of pay your rentals in these higher rental spaces in the middle of town. So that was the thinking behind it, and since they've been involved, it's really added another cool layer of service to our members. So yeah, it's been great for the businesses. And
like foot traffic wise, pulling people into the box,
interesting.
Does that work? You know, you'd think.
Yeah, you know how it goes with CrossFit. It's always scary. But I think we started the coffee shops at a very similar time to when this running club boom happened. So they would a lot of these guys start their runs from here.
Okay.
So it's great. It's foot traffic, and I need to do some strength programming for my running. And then they come and do it, because they've seen it. And they know it's not too intimidating. It always looks intimidating from afar, and then they pop their head around the corner and they go, oh, okay, cool, it's not so scary. And who's that weird guy in the front dancing? It's either Dave or myself or doing something weird. So it's not like we get millions of members from it, but it definitely creates a vibe in the gym. There's nothing worse than those dead hours in the gym. You know what it's like. And we don't have that anymore because it's going to have meetings, you can do whatever you want, and it's a cool setting rather than a dingy spot where you're making an espresso in the corner, you know what I mean? So it's actually decent quality product that adds to our product. So it was a great addition.
Awesome. And I think it is cool that when we train here, I know it's always lekker to have a session and then
you hang out,
grab a coffee,
talk a bit of nonsense in the front. And I think it's great for community building. Community is such a word in the CrossFit space, which I'm sure we'll get to at some stage, but it's really good for your in-house community to just hang out, talk about what's going on in your life, and you create those bonds within the classes, which is what CrossFit's actually about, and it just facilitates that. So it was a really cool addition to the party.
And I think like talking about community and I suppose that leads into culture and that sort of thing. You run I mean, you've got your gyms, but as you say, like lots of drop-ins and that sort of thing. Like, how does that work for you and your community specifically? Is it different from? I mean, you were involved in District 6 and that sort of thing a long time ago. Like, how does it differ? And it's always quite interesting to find out, you know, how do the different boxes,
very long time ago,
how do the different gyms operate and feel? And
I think for us, it's just a norm now, because we'll have a class. I mean, our mid-morning classes, our 9 o'clock classes, sometimes we cap our class at 16. That's one of our things that we commit to. And you'll have 12 foreigners from 4 different countries, and then 4 locals, and then they in the minority, so they have to adapt to the vibe. But obviously there's certain things, like if someone drops an empty bar, the coach doesn't even have to say anything. The locals will just say, "Don't do that, Ty will shout at you." Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the locals always sort of patrol the culture and the vibe and the feeling. The foreigners, especially the open gym, you get the hardcore, must do your program and must do your 63.4% lift and make sure and all that kind of stuff. But I always find when they come back a second time, because we get a lot of repeat guys, they'll come this year and they'll come back next year. The second time they come, they're a lot more chill because they've got used to, you can do fitness and be good at it without being hardcore and have your AirPods in the whole time and look angry and all that kind of stuff. Just because it's called CrossFit, you don't have to be cross all the time to be fit. And that's sort of one of the things that we try and punt. You can come here, you can have fun and still get fitter. And over the years, we found the guys that come back are just sort of become a little bit more chill every time they come, because they realize that there's more to this CrossFit thing than lifting weights hardcore and doing these programs to the T. And that's what we found is it adds, it's not a detraction from the culture. Our culture is very centric around a motley crew, a mixed group of people who are weird and wonderful, but somehow it works. That's the point of Motley Crew.
So it's aptly named.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go. And I mean, you are talking about that, like strict programming and like you must do this and you must do that. Your philosophy is quite a lot different. Tell us a little bit about that. And
look, I mean, I know there's a place for that, and you obviously get results like that. But I think what happens with people, like you say, I've been around a very long time. I've been even longer in the coaching environment. I've been coaching for over 2 decades now. When I was at varsity, I was already coaching at a high school. So I've been coaching people and kids and whatever for a very long time. And it's great while you're in your 20s, maybe even a little bit in your 30s. But then you start getting a career. Unless you are a Rich Froning whose career is to be the best at what they do, unfortunately, as South Africans, we are quite far behind. Real life kicks in. And then you've got stress of paying the bills. You've got stress of your family, your kids crying at night. Then you want to go and try and do a 4-hour training session. It's not good. You're going to crash. And it happens all the time. And then you end up getting anxious with your training. And then it's the only thing that adds more stress is when you're stressed about not hitting your numbers because you're stressed. It's the most ridiculous thing. And the best way to do it is to just enjoy your training. If you don't feel like going hard, find someone. Let's do a partner workout. Dave's always up for that. I just rope him in. Gareth's always up for that. We do a partner workout. We did it today because he was tired as always, Davi. And you're still exercising. You're sweating, talking a bit of nonsense with your mates, and you feel better after. That's the point of exercise. You're actually supposed to feel better most of the time. Again, professional CrossFitters, guys that are trying to make it to the games, I get the uncomfortable piece and you've got to work the brain and all that stuff. There is a place for that. But I think for 99.9% of people, they shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. They should be just enjoying their training, moving through full ranges of motion, being able to train consistently rather than go super hard one day, broken the second day, super hard on the 4th day kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think training more times consistently is much more beneficial than trying to kill yourself every single day.
And hit it hard, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've got a really good group of coaches and a good mix. Like, how do you find your people? I think Like if I look at it, you've got a really good,
it's
a
not
good
easy.
group and a lot of different people who come from different backgrounds and different places.
Yeah, I mean it's tricky. It is a tricky. It hasn't been 100% strike rate. It can't be. I think we learn lessons. We've had people that have come in and I want to do this, and okay, cool. It's going to take you. We're going to give you 50 shadow hours. Once you've done 50 shadow hours, then we can have a conversation. 10 hours in, nah, I'm not that. Then you're sitting on bags and in the middle of the session. I already know that you're not going to work because after 10 sessions, you're already tired. You can't do that, yeah. I find with my guys, I was actually thinking about it yesterday. I got some really nice feedback from the camp that's happening from the guys in the camp. And they were just saying like, everyone does a little bit more. So coaching your class and giving a good lesson is fantastic. That's the base. It has to be more than that. Are you figuring out ways to make the storage more efficient? Are you figuring out some cool new drills? Every coach does a warm-up week. Are you trying to do some research on some cool new warm-up drills? Are you doing all that kind of stuff? And that to me is the difference. And I've always said I can take a good person and make a good coach, but a good athlete is a lot of the time, it's much harder to make a good coach out of a good athlete, because to be a good athlete, you've got to be a little bit selfish, I think. And selfish and community don't play well together. So I always find that, yes, you need to move well. It's great if you can do all the movements, but I was a teacher, so I can teach you how to coach better. That's what I believe. I can teach you how to coach better, but if you're not a good person, or a person that's willing to listen, you're not going to be a better coach. So I'm lucky with the people that have come through our doors and said, hey, I want to coach. But overall, I think they've started at this point and they've moved forward as coaches. They haven't been good coaches from the beginning. So yeah, it's a process. It's a process, and there is a structure in place. You've got to do shadow hours, then they do just a couple of the warm-ups. And while that's going on, they're starting to interact with members and they're building relationships. Which is, again, the most important. They're watching people move, they're doing the reps, and that's conducive to a good coach. And
do you build them up from inside your community? Is that
That's always the goal.
The goal, yeah?
Yeah, that's the goal. We've got 3 of our coaches have come through, 5. 5 out of the 9 coaches have all come through from members, which is great. It's a lot easier to sell the culture if they're already in the culture.
Yes.
But then a lot of them are just fresh. They just say, hey, I really like this CrossFit thing. I want to be a coach. Go get an O1. If you're still keen, once you pay that money, then we can have a discussion. Like the baseline is, I've had about 60 people over the 8 years come and say, I want to be a coach. Okay, cool, go do O1.
Oh, we're not keen
No,
anymore.
not keen. It's expensive. I know it's expensive, but there's got to be a barrier to entry. If the barrier to entry is too easy, then you're not going to do what it takes to be the coach. And that to me is important. You got to pay your dues. I mean, I've paid all my dues over the years, so I don't feel sorry for someone who says it's expensive. I did all that stuff on my credit card. I'm still paying off half of that stuff. But you know what? I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for that stuff. So it's important.
Yeah, you got to buy into it. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that we all buy into. We buy into CrossFit. We buy into the culture. We buy into.
Yeah, it's getting harder.
It is. I think, and I think it's good to talk about that and to figure it out. I mean, we're in open month, so the open kicks off on Friday next week.
Yeah.
And it is getting tough. I mean, it's hard. There's a lot of big athletes who are walking away and saying we're out. But I think from our point of view, we need to remember what the Open's about. It's about getting the community together and throwing down and testing yourself,
Yeah, and I mean the Open has always been the thing that, my first CrossFit workout was an Open workout in 2013. I don't know what I was getting myself in for.
How did it end up being your
I'd been snatching at a
first?
Virgin Active. I thought I knew what I was doing, and I got destroyed. It was wonderful.
Where did that happen?
I started CrossFit Sakai back in the day in 2013. Yeah, I'd done like a couple of workouts in passing, a bit of open gym here and there, but then like one of my first proper workouts was the open. I was still tweeting to Diane Fu what shoes to wear for the workouts, and like all these OG people that most people won't even know who I'm talking about, but it's all the OGs that I used to love. Kelly Starrett, the gymnastics, what is his name? My favorite guy, and then I've forgotten his name. But anyway, those are the cool memories.
Yeah.
I mean, they were doing 13.2 now in the camp. I mean, that was my second CrossFit workout. So it was just like, oh, that was cool. I remember that. And I wore this, and I had my little vest, and I had my backwards cap, and my tackies, because I didn't have my shoes yet. And
your long socks.
no, I wasn't a long sock guy.
Not a long sock guy.
You gotta get the tan. You gotta get the tan out. So I mean, those are the things. That's why the Open's important. I literally can tell you what was happening in my life for any open workout you tell me. Like, I've got memories attached to all of those things, and it's so rad. You see where you've come from. I mean, who were you when you started CrossFit compared to where you are now? You're like a different human being. You wouldn't even recognize yourself.
No,
probably.
and
That's the point. You go like, it's part of your journey as a human. For me, CrossFit is about the community. I can, every open, I've spoken about this before, every open something magical happens. Whether it's you, whether it's your mate, whether it's someone that does class with you, whether it's someone you've never seen before, but all of a sudden you're clapping, you don't know why. But that's the point. That you don't even know this oak. He trains in a class you've never even seen before, but now you're so stoked and you don't understand why, and you go home and you're like, yo, that was fun. You're dying, you're sore, you can't even walk, you can't even put on your shoes on properly the next day because you did too many deadlifts. But now it's something you would never do unless the open weight said you have to do that weight.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you did it. But in class you do 50% of that weight because you're too scared. Yeah, so the open to me is a magical time. Again, what I tend to do is give long answers when it's supposed to be a short answer.
Yeah.
But I love the open. So I'll punt it until it's no longer possible to punt it. It's not fluke that we get that. We've got spreadsheets, we've got WhatsApp things that we send to everyone, we've got WhatsApp groups that we send to everyone. Like, it's a structured plan to get those sign-ups. Eventually they go, oh my gosh, I'm so sick of you, I'll sign up. And then they come on Saturday, they have the best time. I've never met someone who's regretted doing it. Put it that way. Have you ever met someone who's done the open and gone, oh, I wish I didn't pay that money to do the open? Literally never. So for
That's
me,
a good
I've
point.
had
It's
people
something we
that
don't
have
think
gone,
about.
oh, I should have done it.
Yeah.
But I've never heard someone who paid the money either. $400 or over a month. It's like a couple of coffees in Cape Town. And then gone, oh, you know what? I wish I had that 400 Rand back. No one's done that. Come on. You enjoy the open. You make magical memories. You spend time. You do things you would never do. And that's the point.
I think it's also like it's
That's
quite a
all it
unique. It's also a unique experience. Like I think
Yeah.
of back home at REF CrossFit Josie, you know, like it's Friday Night Lights. We get together, we throw down, and it's something we often, I think, forget is CrossFit Gym. We say Motley
That's
Crew.
what it's
It's this
for.
community,
Yeah.
but it's really you've got a whole lot of little different communities. You've got a 5 a.m. and a 6 a.m.
100%. It's
and
completely different people in each one.
But this brings everyone together.
Exactly.
And it's, you know, it's awesome to see everyone succeeding and everyone like making a big push,
Yeah.
like, and improving
No,
themselves.
You obviously have your frenemies and you hope that they don't beat you, but no one really wants to see another human being fail. You're
No.
still going to celebrate the win. I remember putting like a 0.25 kg on my bar just to beat Biff the 1 year, even though he destroyed me in every other workout, but in the lifting complex I beat him by 0.25 kgs and he's never heard the end of it and he's going to hear about it again now. Because that's the point, it's so much fun. It's just so much, I get so excited about the open because I suck every year. I don't like this capacity nonsense. I'd rather just do a little bit more high skill, a little bit of a flop around. I die every year, but I love it. It's so lekker.
And I think it's something that allows the CrossFit affiliates to stand apart. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's supposed to.
and
It's supposed to,
important.
and especially in the climate that's going on at the moment with the other fitness racing that's around. I won't say that word. I know you love the H word, but the thing with Hyrox is that what they've got right at the moment is their branding and their marketing is excellent. And obviously we know the issues with HQ, like We know that they've stuffed up with their marketing many times. They've brought in some really ridiculous rules this year that have segregated people again. But at the end of the day, it's not about that. It's not about that. It's about all these people coming together. For us, it's a big deal because you have 100 to 150 people on a Saturday morning all stopping their life for 3 weeks and coming and doing these heats, getting all anxious and nervous. They don't do that normally when they come to class half asleep at 7 o'clock in the morning. But now all of a sudden they're anxious and they're nervous. Oh, how am I going to split this up? How am I going to do my pull-ups? You can do 2 pull-ups. You're not splitting up your pull-ups, you're doing 1. Okay, but like now all of a sudden they're thinking about these different strategies they're going to use because they're doing something out of their comfort zone. That's the thing about the Open for me. There's all this Goggins and you must go do your ice baths and your saunas because you've got to get used to being uncomfortable. Do the Open. Do the Open. It's super uncomfortable every time, but it's amazing. And that's why I do it. That's why I always sing the praises of it. Again, as long as I can.
So Ty, like I think it's amazing to get like 150 members down to like throw down and do the Open. What sort of percentage of that is that of your membership? Like if we
sure. Good
that must
question.
be a big chunk of your
Yeah,
membership.
it's a big chunk. It's about, I think, about 60% of the guys across the two. We do all our workouts at the other gym.
Yeah.
The main reason is noise, because we're in Sea Point in a residential area.
Okay.
So if we have 100 people coming here, it's going to be a bit of a drama. So
Someone's
we
gonna
shift
phone
everyone
you.
there. The Sea Point people. They're phoning the car ins. But yeah, so we get a big chunk of people there. We run heats. We do it like a mini comp.
Yeah.
We have a warm-up coach that takes them through the warm-ups. They push them through. We have heat sheets. We use Octave to book what time slot you want. And it's like roulette. We literally broke Octave last year. We did. They had to put in a thing because people were booking all at the same time at like 1 second past lunchtime. And then you'd have 7 out of 6 people in a heat, for example. Then you'd be like, hey guys, how did they do that? It's like, well, they all booked at exactly the same time. And it literally broke the system. So they had to reinvent that system a little bit. So we have the heats going through, a coach does a warm-up. We set up the stations the night before. We close that gym in the afternoon. We have an extra class or 2 at Sea Point at this gym. And then the guys come through on Saturday and go through it. Saturday, Sunday. Sunday's quite a big day as well.
Okay.
Because some of the guys can't come on Saturday, so they come on a Sunday, or they're too nervous. The anxiety gets a bit much for them. So they'll come watch and eat their croissant and coffee on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday, they think there's not many people there, but there's always lots of people there.
Yeah, I suppose 150 members,
It's a lot
that's
of
a lot
heats.
of
That's
heats
why we
and a
can't
lot
do it
of
on a
people.
Friday. Like the idea of the Friday night lights is cool, but for us it just doesn't make sense. We'll be there till midnight.
It's just so many
We
people.
run from like 6 till lunchtime on a Saturday, and it's just
crazy.
yeah, it's not something you want to do. It's a lot. It is a lot, and that's the kind of thing to tie back to the coaches.
Yeah.
That's the extra. That's a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it's an event. It's an event for a whole month. It's an event. Then you go like last year when you had quarterfinals. That's also an event.
Yeah.
So now you got to have all those oaks. And now you have your workouts and who's judging. Oh, you got to have a judge thing. Set up the stations, cameras, all that nonsense. So yeah, it is. It takes a little bit more, but hopefully it's a bit more rewarding too.
Yeah, I think the community needs that, and I feel like, you know, the big dogs, the old OGs have started putting some videos out. That Rich Froning video came out
So cool.
early this week. Like
broke the internet.
Yeah, it gives you like goosebumps again.
Yeah.
You know, like that old school. Like
I feel that they're trying to bring. I think Castro is trying with all his heart and whatever means that he has there to try and bring some of that back. That's what it seems like from sort of a slightly rose-tinted glasses of an OG myself. Is it seems like they're trying to bring a little bit of that old school feeling back. So bringing Rich into the athletes, people. I think Rory McCorman's doing the commentary for one of the workout announcements. So bringing some of those OGs back into the mix, it makes people like us excited. Some of those guys don't even know who Rich Froning is. I got a comment when I posted the Rich, I reposted it because I have to, because it's Rich, saying the only GOAT, and they said, oh, Fraser would beat him. Like, I don't care who that guy is. He doesn't exist without Rich. And yeah, so guys like that were doing it for the money, and Fraser was incredible.
Yeah.
I don't doubt what an amazing athlete he was, but what did they do for the sport? So like CrossFit wouldn't be what it was without Rich. Let's be honest.
No,
Rich was one of the pioneers of the sport. Kalipa, all these guys were pioneers of the sport, and the guys that do it right, they were on the seminar staff. All those guys are on the seminar staff.
They all own gyms.
They all train in affiliates. All these guys that are coming out and going, I'm out. Well, I want change. It's not completely wrong. So I don't have a black and white answer, because there's no black and white answer to this, but most of those guys don't train in affiliates or own affiliates. They train in their garage by themselves, or they pop into an affiliate now and then, but all of them have home gyms. If you look at the guys that have come out and been quite outspoken about it, they're not involved in an actual community. They're involved in their own little island of community, which is fine because they're making careers, and they were driving the sport forward. But now there's another shinier World Fitness League or whatever it's called, and that's okay, cool, there's more money, I'll go there. And that's sad. That's a bit sad to me, because a lot of these guys wouldn't have careers without the OG stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel a lot of people wouldn't have the voice
if there wasn't another option.
If there wasn't CrossFit.
Yeah.
But I also think we need to always remember that CrossFit is not the sport.
No.
But it's a very unique environment and it's something that was really cool last year with the way that they structured the CrossFit Games season.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I can be involved in being part of the CrossFit semi-final that's going to send some people to the games, but I can also take part in this event.
Yeah.
And I can only take part in the first part of the event because I'm not part of the top 25%, and I'm not going to make it to quarters.
Yeah.
But I can still take part and still be part of this big thing that's doing the same workouts and it's something special that next week we're going to be doing the same workout that Rich Froning's doing, and that's really cool.
Yeah, it is cool. It's the only sport. It's like we can go play touch rugby on a Sunday, but it's not like we're going to play touch rugby against Cheslin Colby.
Yeah.
We can't compare our side steps. You know what I mean? When you look at Rich's scores, I'll keep using Rich because he's my hero.
Yeah.
I mean, I still remember the whoop video of the wall walk thing. It was ridiculous. His heart rate didn't go over like 140 or something like that. Meanwhile, I'm flopping around on the floor, passing out. He didn't even look like he broke a sweat in that workout. It just always blows my mind the capacity that these guys have. Again, seeing the games guys here this week, Lauren Fisher and Bailey Rail, just watching them move, they just don't look like they ever get tired. I do 2 reps and I'm like, it's your turn. Again, that's their job.
Yeah.
But it's so nice. It's so cool. It's so cool. And I'm a movement nerd. I love seeing good movement and seeing people who move well. So it's really cool to see these people live, and they were speaking about it. They're obviously somewhere in the middle where they're like in the new breed, but also OGs a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're also saying they're going to do the first open workout with us. How cool is that?
Yeah, I mean,
on
that's
Saturday
amazing.
they're going to come throw down with us, and they're going to go, hey, this is actually what it's about. They're going to hang out and judge a little bit before and all. I'm sure they'll redo it if they actually want to get a better time, whatever it is. But the first one just is a throwaway to be involved with something bigger, which is the point. It's bigger than all this other stuff.
Yeah, it's bigger than the sport
and all that stuff. The Open is supposed to be bigger, and it has to be. And for us as a gym, I'll keep pushing it until they make it almost impossible for us to keep singing that song. But it's a great time of year. It's great marketing. You walk past there on a Saturday, you go, what the hell is happening here? How do I get a part of that thing?
Yeah.
You got a DJ, and then you got a smoke machine. The one year we had a smoke, it was ridiculous. We ended up setting the fire alarms off, so we didn't do that again. But it's just, it's a party, it's a show. It's a circus. You always want to be part of something like that.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is, but you're like, hey, I want in. And that's what we'll keep pushing for as long as we can.
Lekker. Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, what Renegade's doing with the Renegade Games is super cool. it is tricky for you. I'm sure it's just
Yeah.
super tricky for you and your team to try and navigate. Every year there's a whole new set of rules and different people to speak to. But if people don't support the Open in South Africa, CrossFit will die. A lot of people have fallen in love with this sport over the years, and their gyms, everyone loves CrossFit REF Josie. They come to Motley, yeah, it's nice, but it's not as cool as when Dill's coaching me. You know what I mean? Maybe not Dill, we're a better coach. But everyone falls in love with their gym. Someone once said to me, I think it was Stevie actually, he said, your first coach will always be the best coach you've ever had. Doesn't matter what qualification I've got, I will never outcoach your first coach because they introduced you to the sport that you've now fallen in love with and the changes it's made in your body. So if you don't support this thing that's bigger than all the politics and all the Instagram posts, if you don't support the actual pillars of what CrossFit's supposed to be, then it will disappear. And part of that is Renegade Games, the sharp end of the spear. It's great to go watch those guys. I was lucky enough to be on the commentary floor last year and seeing some of these guys that I thought I was as good as back in the day. The sport has gone forward a bit. It's amazing. It's supposed to be that cool. It's these incredible athletes, but that disappears if people don't support it. And then what do you do? What are you going to do?
I agree. And I think
what do we do with that time? We're going to run. No, I don't want to be a runner. I tried to, but I don't want it. Hippos aren't runners.
Yeah, I think that's really important that the CrossFit community needs to stand up and be counted.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that we are supporting the Open and supporting the Rebel Renegade Games. And, you know, because if we don't stand up and support it and push it, then that goes away. And it goes away for everyone, and it goes away for Africa.
Yeah.
And the politics and the things that are happening in the sport right now, like, regardless of that, we can still exist. And regardless of that, CrossFit, Motley Crew CrossFit is still going to be Motley Crew CrossFit, and you're still going to come and open your gym at 5 a.m. every morning, and REF CrossFit Josie is going to open every day, and we're going to coach people and we're going to change their lives. And that is so important. And that is so much bigger than anything else.
Yeah, everything you said I agree with. We always, I think as coaches, because we're always a bit underpaid and overworked, we like to say that we're changing people's lives, but we are. I think it's super important that we keep trying to do that for something that's bigger than the games. The games is great, it's fun to watch, but the games, I prefer watching some old bully do his first pull-up than I do. Like, it's so cool, and the excitement and the happiness, and someone that's trying to take it seriously, I really want to hit that 100 kg snatch, and you'd see them snatching and you're like, hey, why are you doing this? Why are you maxing out all the time? Okay, carry on, you're not going to listen. They carry on, and eventually they hit it. And the joy in their eyes and the happiness, and like, that's why you do this stuff. You don't do it for other reasons. Like, I could make a lot more money if I was just personal training. Like, I could. Yeah, I tell my coaches all the time, like, keep coaching and keep giving a bit more, because I could just coach your classes and take your salary. But like, that's not the point. We got to make this ecosystem so abundant for everyone that we want to get more of it. Like, and hopefully CrossFit Global sees that kind of stuff going forward. I mean, we are so small in Africa still, and it's not a money thing. Like, every affiliate call we do, everyone's, when is the affiliate amount going to come down for Africa? Dollar's expensive. Guys, we've got to be past that now. It's done. Like, we're not small town. We've got all the resources. We've got Rebel. We've got other suppliers that can do this stuff for us and make world-class facilities. It's not an Africa thing anymore. Like, we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard as gyms nationwide, continent-wide. And why can't we grow? Why are we not growing? That's my question. Like, it can't be only money. It can't be a money-only thing. What is the reason? And part of me is like, I've heard of coaches saying, no, you mustn't do the Open. You're not going to go to semifinals. What's the point? Like, what a ridiculous thing to say. that's not why you do the Open. I don't want to go to semi-finals. I've done it, been there, done that. Like, I don't even care about that anymore. I want to do the Open because I want to throw down with people I don't get an opportunity to throw down. I want to make fun of people that I always make fun of and have fun with, and frenemies and all that kind of stuff. That's the reasons. And if you are discouraging the Open in your gyms, like, that's not going to help you in the long run. You've got to push the bigger pie. We make a bigger pie. I don't want a piece of REF Joburg. I don't want a piece of the gym down the road. I don't. What we are doing is different. If someone wants to be at your gym, they don't want to be at my gym.
Yeah, 100%.
Like when people say, oh, you mustn't poach members, like, there's no such thing. If you're happy with your dinner, you're not going to go take someone else's dinner. Like, you're enjoying your product, you won't even look at another product. So do the best you can do in your affiliate, coach hard, coach professionally, coach beautifully. Don't sit and have a hangover and have a sleep and send them for a 5K run. Like, it has to be better than that. Like, it has to be better than that. We're way past it. How long has CrossFit been in South Africa for? Nearly 20 years.
Yeah, I think Gavin opened REF CrossFit Josie in 2008.
Okay, so that's a big chunk.
Yeah, it's a lot of
My
time.
maths is not good.
But
So it's like
yeah.
a good 17 years. I mean, we can't still be saying that it's growing pains and complaining about stuff we were complaining about 10 years ago, because everything's shifted, everything's moved forward, and we have to move forward. We have to drive this thing. If we don't drive it, other things will take over. Other stuff will take over and squash CrossFit. And I don't want to not be a CrossFit gym. I love CrossFit too much. It changed my life. Gave us this opportunity. Like, we wouldn't have this stuff if it wasn't for CrossFit. You wouldn't be where you are now if it wasn't for CrossFit.
I think CrossFit changed particularly for, I imagine, individuals like me and you who were working at schools, coaching and doing that sort of thing. Like, CrossFit really opened the world of conditioning and
weightlifting,
sport and fitness to us. Like, but also gave us opportunity to be able to have facilities and coach people and, you know, really, like, change as many lives as you possibly can.
Yeah,
because before that, it wasn't that.
No, it wasn't that. It was just, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Let's just keep going and see what happens, kind of thing. Now, okay, I've got a purpose. My purpose is to change as many people's lives as possible, and I want to show as many people how good they can be at life, not at CrossFit. Like, don't tell me you can't do something. You can always figure out a way to do something. I'm not saying everyone needs to be able to do a muscle up, but I'm saying if you come to me, you can't hang on day one, I will get you to hang for 10 seconds in a month or two. Like, that's the win. That's the win. And I think we as a community have to push that, because it has to grow the whole pie for everyone. Everyone has to grow the pie together. Because I think there's in my limited time in Joburg, in the community there is some infighting. There is some little backstabbing and all. There's a lot of it here, unfortunately. And it can't happen. It shouldn't be happening. Like I say, if I want to go to the gym 2Ks away, I don't want to be in your gym anymore. Go. You'll probably either go, actually no, I want to come back. Cool. Or, actually, this is a better fit for me. I want to stay here. And there's no beef. There's no beef. That beef is made up. It's an ego thing. I mean, we all egocentric buggers over the years. I think as you get older, you get over it a little bit more. But we have to grow this thing, because I want to have 20 coaches and 10 gyms. Like, I don't want to have a small part. I want to get as many people doing this functional CrossFit, fitness, whatever the hell you want to call it, in the next couple of years as possible. Like, I want to get as many people doing cool stuff as possible.
Yeah,
and the only way we can do this is a bigger community, Rebel, other suppliers, everyone lifting the rising tides, right? Raises all ships. Everyone loves that saying. So that's the only way we can do it. And if we're always taking digs at each other, it's pointless.
No, we got to pull together and we've got to make it happen.
100%.
So Ty's calling you all out. Let's do it. Let's get some more open sign-ups. Let's make sure. Let's see everyone on the leaderboard, and let's make CrossFit in Africa work.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's important.
We have to. So nice big Renegade Games qualifiers. I think that'll be cool. It adds a bit of fun to the post Open stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Without
that's the idea.
Without
is
the
to-
quarterfinals this
Yeah.
year, I think it'll add a nice little extra element for some of the guys.
Yeah,
I was quite disappointed about the quarterfinals going away.
yeah,
Because last year, guys that were like solid athletes that played a bit of sport, learned a bit of CrossFit, and were like doing some nice cleans. Oh, I can do some chest to bars and a muscle up or two. Like they were like, next year is my year. I'm going to go quarterfinals.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it didn't stay like
Yeah,
that.
it was
Because it was
nice,
quite
like
cool.
a-
It was a nice 25% thing. Was quite cool.
I think
Or
it did.
10%
It like,
or whatever
yeah,
it
it
was.
opened it up to
Yeah, another layer.
another layer.
Yeah, and guys
And
that
like-
want to try their luck, and same thing, like they think CJ is the Rich Froning of Motley.
Yeah, yeah.
And then now they get to try and do the quarterfinal workouts again and realize they can't even move the first weight. But it's still quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, you signed up, you made it there.
So yeah, I think it's quite
Yeah.
lekker to see what the Renegade Games has in store for us. And I'm excited for the 4-day event.
Yeah, it's going to be
A
cool.
little bit of extra fun out there in front of Vale Park.
Yeah, we're trying to, I think that's the key, is we're trying to put on a
show.
really world-class event
Yeah.
and a show for all of the athletes and everyone who's involved.
And why can't we?
No, we can.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we did it. I mean, we've done it the last 2 years, and I think we have upped the level of the event, and it's been really cool, and people are getting a great experience.
Yeah.
And now we're going to make it. We want to make it better, and we're going to make it longer. We're going to make you work harder,
Lekker.
and
Well,
we
that's-
want
I'm
to
not doing
see.
it, so
I
I
mean,
don't
I think what's really cool is, yes, we get to send some people to the CrossFit Games, and that's really awesome. But what I'm really excited about is the African UAE and Gulf Affiliate Cup,
Yeah.
and let's see who the fittest affiliate is.
Yeah, it'll be cool. And like,
And I think like you're gonna win a trophy, and that's got to be the key. And I want that trophy to like live proudly in a gym, and to have your next door neighbor or your,
can't we make the air a bit thicker up there?
I mean, we can chat to Sassol and see what they can do.
Well, good air, not that brown stuff. Yeah, I mean, Tom, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what role I'll have there, but I'll definitely be there. And we'll get a couple of teams, hopefully, through the qualifiers, and we'll come support through.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be lekker. It's gonna be a
Lekker,
joy.
Wiki. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Ty. Appreciate
Always a
it.
pleasure.
Good to be here.